Welcome to Networking RX, a podcast devoted to helping business professionals like you enhance your networking skills in order to become more proficient giving and receiving quality business referrals and improving the overall quality of your life and the lives of those around you. The Networking RX podcast is a production of AmSpirit Business Connections, an organization whose mission is to empower business success through networking.
Welcome to the Networking RX podcast. I'm your host, Frank Agin, founder and president of AmSpirit Business Connections. Today we have another guest, special guest, I'll call him. But before we get started, I want to remind you that we're looking to add quality people to our stable of franchisees. This is a unique franchise opportunity in that it's geared for aspiring entrepreneurs and professionals to add on to what they're already doing. Again, all of our franchisees do something else. For a couple hours in the morning, a few mornings a week, our franchisees operate the AmSpirit Business Connections program. The rest of the week, they are accountants, attorneys, financial advisors, realtors, coaches, and consultants of various kinds. If you have an interest, contact me. There'll be an email at the end of the program and always one in the show notes. I said special guest, and I meant it. Today I have on here Tim Shurr. Tim optimizes human performance through upgrading unconscious beliefs and habits, and that quickly improves confidence, decision-making, and productivity. He's been doing this 31 plus years and has advanced degrees in psychology, neuro-linguistic programming, hypnosis, and has facilitated over 15,000, that's 1530, one-to-one coaching sessions. He's worked with dozens of Fortune 500 companies. Tim's discovered the success code for training your brain for success. In addition, he's an award-winning speaker, author of several books, including The Power of Optimism, Losing Weight Without Losing Your Mind, and Getting Out of Your Own Way. Oh, there we go. And his mind tricks work so well that he's been featured on ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox News, and TEDx and the TEDx stage. Tim, thank you. Thanks for being on. I really appreciate this.
Well, thank you, Frank. I'm excited to be on your program today.
Well, great. I want to jump in. I want to kind of, I guess, with a little bit of lead up as to why I think you're a great guest for this. I've always said that networking is really, it's just human interaction, and it's really, human interaction's been with us since the beginning of time. It's not a function of the 70s or 80s or anything like that. And we're really, when we talk about human interaction, we're talking about relationships, and some connections are passing, some are more lasting, and some are lifelong. But really, human interaction, relationship is just human behavior: talking, listening, understanding, being empathetic, encouraging, inspiring, smiling, laughing, just being a friend, right? And the wonderful thing about human behavior is that it's got patterns to it. And the patterns aren't totally predictable. Like, you mix two chemicals, and every time you're pretty much, all things being equal, going to get the same reaction. So human reactions and human relationships aren't totally predictable, but there are patterns there. And anytime there are patterns, science is attracted to patterns, and science wants to look at patterns. And you, having a lot of psychology in your background, a master's, undergraduate degree, a master's, advanced degrees in psychology, I really wanted to get you on to talk about networking from the psychological perspective, and just kind of your tips on why it works, why it doesn't, the psychology behind it. So with that lead in.
Well, I love it. Yeah, I love it. So thank you. Like you said, it's all about creating real relationships, and a lot of networking isn't working for people, right? They usually will go to a networking event. They try to collect as many business cards as possible, and then they come back, they throw the business cards on their desk, and then they just shuffle them around, and then eventually do nothing with them and throw them away. And so relationships really are about seeking out who your friends are going to be. Right? You're making new friendships, and that's really the people who are the most successful. They're creating new friends, and they're going through these networking experiences to figure out who they're going to be able to add value to and who they're going to get value from through the relationship. And the psychology behind it is always really understanding what's driving you and then what drives other people. And then you can behave in predictable ways. So So for example, I do a program called 3 Ways to Keep Your Networking from Not Working. And I have found that there's 3 types of networkers out there. Well, we'll say 4. Okay. So the 3 types that don't work. And the first one is the wall hugger, right? So that one's the person who, they're very nice. They're very friendly, but they're very introverted or shy. And that's how I used to be. I would go in and kind of hug the wall because I didn't know who to talk to. And or I would walk by people and it'd be funny because it would seem like they already found their circle of 2 or 3 people. And so I would get like the cold shoulder, or they wouldn't, give me any kind of introduction or nonverbal cue to come join their group. And so I would really just go there, feel like that wasn't fun at all, and then leave, and then I wouldn't want to do it anymore, right? I would feel like, well, networking's not really for me. And so that's one type. Okay, the second type is somebody who is the entertainer. So they go in and they're cracking jokes and everybody's drawn to them and they're putting on a good show. I've done this too. And we put on a really good show, but there's never really anything really meaningful, right? So what do you do for a living? Oh, this is what I do for a living. This is what I want. This is what you want. Okay, great. See ya. And then we go on to the next person.
Right.
And there's no meaningful connection. There's just a bunch of hype. And then nobody really does anything for each other, or they're just kind of zooming around and doing the third type of behavior, which is the person who is the taker, right? There's givers and there's takers. And the takers are the ones scouting through the room saying, who here can give me what I need, right? Not how can we help each other and make it mutually beneficial, but who here has what I need and how am I going to get them and get what I need out of them? And so you have the wall hugger, the entertainer, and the taker.
Right.
So those are the 3 styles that I find. And instead of just saying, well, we shouldn't do that, a great question that you can ask is, what is it about that person that is working, right? How could I take certain personality traits from that person and use that to make my networking more effective? And if you do that, that's what makes that 4th type of networker the one who is excellent at creating relationships, who is a giver, who has a beautiful Rolodex of connections that has allowed him to help other people go where they want to go, and they are willing to help him go or her go wherever they want to go, right? Zig Ziglar said, if you help enough people get to the top, they'll help you as well. They'll put you on your shoulders. They'll put you on their shoulders and carry you to the top because it's hard to put yourself there, right? When people say I'm self-made, usually there's a whole bunch of other people involved in that process.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
So the person that's a wall hugger, usually they're really nice, very caring, very smart. They're just shy. So we can take that caring, smart part. Whenever I see someone that's hugging the wall, I go walk up to them. I make an introduction. I create some connection with them, ask them some questions that they're not expecting so that I'm not saying the same thing that everybody else is. I create some buzz. I stand out because I'll talk differently or ask different questions than everybody else. I can give you examples of that later if you like.
Sure.
But I'll go talk to that person and they appreciate it so much that someone approached them that in itself creates a memorable experience.
Well, at that point, you're giving to them. You're adding value to that
Give
person.
First.
Right.
That's right. You want to offer the value first. The more value you bring, the more valuable you become. And so I go in there not just thinking about, what am I going to get? I go out there thinking, whose day am I going to brighten? Who am I going to go? I want to meet 2 or 3 people, not 50. I want to meet 2 or 3 people that I can go and do something really nice for them. Right. And it really allows, it creates incredible credibility. Right. So for example, when we met, we had a great conversation. We were, had a lot of great back and forth. I really enjoyed our time together. And then about a week later, I get this fabulous book called Foundational Networking.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, this book is awesome, right? I'm looking through the pages and I'm saying, yeah, we have a lot. You've really broke it down. You put a lot of science, a lot of strategy, and a lot of heart into this. And I was just really impressed. And I've got a full plate. I've got a lot going on. I talk to a lot of people. I have my own podcast. I'm between my practice and my keynotes and the consulting. I'm a busy guy. I don't like the word busy. I'm in demand. But whenever Frank calls me, I'm answering, right?
Thank
because you made an impression on me. Yeah, when you asked me to be on your show, I said yes, because you made an impression on me by sending me your book. And so that's an excellent example of how, giving will help you get way more than you could have if you were just out there taking.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Can we delve into the science of that? I mean, why is it that way? Is there, it is. I totally agree with everything you're saying. I really enjoy science. My father was he was an educator, science and math, and we always talked about these things. The whys, why is the sky blue? So I'm always fascinated by these things, and I know you have answers to these things, and it's more than it just works. There's something there.
Well, so here's what it really is. Okay. In those 15,000 individual coaching sessions that I facilitated over the last 25 years, that's a lot of time walking around in people's unconscious minds, trying to figure out what really drives us at that deeper emotional level.
Right.
And I realized that we all have this fear, right? This underlying fear that somehow in some way, I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. And if I'm not enough, I won't be loved. So how do I get love? And then we develop these unconscious strategies to feel safe and to feel significant, right? Okay. So some people are the caretakers. They're really nice. They don't like conflict. They don't want to rock the boat. They have a hard time saying no. They, have terrible boundaries. They're taking care of everybody else, but always feeling like they're not getting it back. And so they're always chasing that validation, which they never seem to get.
Right.
And so those are the wall huggers, right? Then you have the people that are the entertainers. They're always putting on a show because they figured that, the way that I get people to like me is just be funny or entertaining or be the smart one or be the one who has all the contacts or the one who's the most successful in the room or the most flashy in the room or whatever it is. And so, they're trying to get that approval as well. And they're doing it through things that are a little superficial. And so they never really get that connection that they're looking for. And so it's the problem with insecurity is our approach to try to get security doesn't work. And so it just, is a perpetual negative self-fulfilling prophecy. The person that's the taker, they're like, I'm never going to get what I want unless I go take it. And so that's what they do. Right.
So everybody's dealing from a level of insecurity, at least the non-good networkers, the people who
and
struggle
even the good networkers, we all have it.
Sure.
We all have it. So, but it's learning how to manage it, right? So the good networkers, what happens typically is however you've done it through coaching, through empowering yourself, through listening to podcasts like this, through going to workshops, hiring coaches, however you're doing it, you have learned to feel like you are enough, to know that you are enough, because everybody is enough. We just don't, our beliefs keep us from seeing it sometimes.
Right.
And so when you feel like you're enough, then you don't have to make it about you anymore. You'll be okay. So then you can focus on being there for other people and helping them win and helping them succeed without strings attached, without I'm going to help you so you help me. That's strings attached. We want to do it unconditionally. I'm going to help you. And if you never do anything back, that's okay, because this is who I am. And I know that if I add value, that it's going to come back in my life one way or another.
Right.
And best networkers are always thinking about how can I help you succeed and focus on helping you succeed before I ever ask for anything in return.
Right. Okay. I've been listening to your podcast, and I guess when you start talking about people and their insecurities and, hey, I'm not enough, it's almost like there's a comparison going on. I mean, that's essentially when you're saying I'm not enough, it's that there is a implied comparison to that. But you had said something on one of your podcasts, and if the audience, you should be listening to his podcast, it's great. But you had said something in there, and I wrote it down. I don't have it handy, but something to the effect of where you are is where you need to be. And wherever you are, you're enough. You might only be a mid-level manager right now, and you want to be more because your buddies in college are higher than that. They're VPs, but that's where you're supposed to be. And so that's speaks to kind of a confidence or a security as you're, going to a networking event, or not even just networking event, but networking in general, that, hey, I'm okay. I'm okay.
Yeah. That's where I'm supposed to be perhaps right now, because there's something that I need to learn, or the resistance and the pushback that I get when I'm trying to achieve my goals, that resistance is there for a reason. It's there to help me grow into the person that I need to become in order to have the knowledge or the confidence or the consistency or the resiliency to be able to get to where I want to be next. But too many times we're living in the past, dwelling on all the things that have happened to us, back in our past, or we're jumping into this future that we've made up in our mind and making ourselves feel scared or stressed or worried. And so what we need to do is learn how to feel more peaceful in the moment and be grateful for what we have or where we're at, while we are also going after that which we would like to experience more of. That's why they always say you got to enjoy the journey, because it's more important than the actual, the actual end result or where you arrive. Because once you get there, you're going to want to set another goal and you'll be back on the journey again anyway.
Right. Okay, so we have 4 types here. We have the givers, and hopefully all 4 type are listening. Let's assume that they are.
Yes.
What would your advice be to, I don't want to say the givers are okay. There's always room for improvement. We can touch on that. But what would your advice be for those 3, the wall hugger, the taker, the entertainer, as far as trying to kind of break free from that? And I mean, it's easy to say, hey, you are enough. And if life were that simple, you wouldn't have a practice, because somebody would have said it years ago, right?
Yeah.
So, what would be some advice for them to kind of break out of being, you broke out of being the wall hugger. How'd you do it?
I've done all 3. I've been the taker, I've been the wall hugger, I've been the entertainer. So I understand all of it and what drives us. So the first part is recognizing it, right? Because you can't fix what you're not aware of. And we all have our blind spots. And so often we don't even know that we're one of those people. Right. And so entertainers might think, what are you talking about? Everybody loves me.
Sure. Yeah.
But they don't have any real meaningful connections. They just have a lot of contacts, or the taker might feel like, well, that's what's made me successful. Why would I give that up? And they don't realize that they could have a whole other level of success if they were able to be more others focused instead of self-focused.
Right.
And so a lot of times people don't even recognize that it's an issue or a challenge or a problem, or that they, that particular style is what's keeping them from getting to the next level. So whenever I'm networking, the things that I've learned is I try to take the strengths from all of them. So the wall huggers are usually very kind, nice people. And so I want to make sure I'm kind. The entertainers are very charming, right? And so they're asking different questions. They're, having fun. They're being relaxed. They're helping people feel like, it's good to be around you. We're giving you your full attention.
Sure.
I'm just making you feel like you're all that matters in the room, right? And so you can use that as a strength. The taker, they're usually very assertive. They're usually good at getting things done. So you can take that part of them and use that and combine it as well.
Okay.
So whenever I'm in a networking situation, there's always a few things that I do. Number 1, I set the intention. What's the outcome that I want for this? Why am I here? And usually the outcome is I'm here because I'm wanting to create a connection, with somebody, usually that hires speakers, because I do a lot of mesmerizing leadership programs and on burnout and employee retention and body language and unconscious beliefs and biases. And so I'm usually looking to connect with somebody who brings in speakers, or is the spouse or neighbor of somebody who brings in speakers, or who has a company where they're struggling with their people, which, almost everybody has that.
Sure.
And so that's my intention. When you go to do a networking program, what is the intention that you set, Frank?
When I go actually talk to or go to a networking event.
When you're in the networking event, not presenting, but you're actually there networking.
Well, for me, I guess there's more than just 2 types, but the local events, I'm certainly looking to help grow the local AmSpirit groups.
Mm-hmm.
But my intention always is how can I help people? Because I find that's what draws people in. If you help people, they're more attracted to, you do something for somebody, they're almost hardwired to turn the tables and say, well, how can I how can I help you?
Yeah.
Almost like they're mystified that, oh my, somebody did something for me. And so I really try and focus on, and I think we ask two questions, or from a survival standpoint, we always ask when we meet somebody, what's in it for me? And what I try to do is try to push that question away, because 95% of the time there's nothing in it for me, but 100% of the time there's something I can do for this person. And if I can go to that, then I have a greater opportunity of going back and saying, you know what, I want to try and benefit from this, have this person benefit me somehow, some way. But I'm certainly looking to grow, the AmSpirit business in the local Columbus area as I network on a more national basis. And I do lots of these calls. Same mindset. Okay, who are the people that I know out there? Everybody I meet it can either help somebody I know or be helped by somebody I know, if they're open to it. Not everybody's open to it. And try and establish that rapport that I'm not just here to get something. And then once that relationship's there, then I can kind of turn the tables and say, just as a reminder, would be a good connection for me. I'm looking to franchise AmSpirit Business Connections, and you might not know who that franchisee is, but other business people, and just an introduction to them and the ability to talk about what we're doing, they might be the person who knows somebody, and so on and so forth. So that's my intention.
So that's really good. And so that is, the best networkers, that's what they're doing. They're like, all right, what would I like to get out of this? So we know why we're here. And then also, how am I going to help and deliver value first? And so that's exactly right. So we go in trying to make a friend, not just a contact or a connection. Right. I'd rather have a meaningful relationship than just walk out with a business card that I don't really care about anyway. And then I'm not looking to talk to everybody in the room. I'll talk to a couple, 2 or 3 people in the room. When I'm talking to them, I give them my full attention, because it's so easy to get distracted with your phone or with other people going by. But you're right. When you give someone your full attention, they don't even know what to do with it. They're just shocked. I mean, I've had some people where I've asked them one question and then I gave them my full attention, and they talk for 15 minutes straight. And then I never said a word besides the first question. And then afterwards they're like, you know what? This is the best conversation I've ever had. Right. Just laugh, because someone gave them their full presence. And that is huge. And then, I have this acronym. I go around loving people, LUV. It stands for listen to, understand, and validate. And that's what I do. Go around and I listen to where people are coming from, understand what they're going through, ask them questions that grab their attention. Like what's the craziest experience you've ever had, right? Or what was a challenge that you had, but you ended up learning so much from it? Or based on what you've learned so far, what would you go back and tell that little girl or boy that you were back then? What would you tell them to feel them, or to prepare them for the future, right? And I ask these questions, and it causes people to go, wow, huh? And now they're going in and they're thinking about these things. What's the best vacation you ever had? And now they're thinking about all this fun. And as they're having all this pleasure move through their body, they're associating that good feeling to me because I'm the one that initiated it, right?
Right.
So many different ways that you can stand out and be rememberable. And then, of course, once I do meet them, whenever I leave that networking event, then phase 2 kicks in. Because most people go network and then they go do something else and the networking is over. But the actual conversations are only step 1. Step 2 is go do something nice for that person. So like you sent me a book, right? So that's great. So I've sent people books before, or I'll go on their Facebook page and I'll say, hey, it was great meeting you, or we'll get a selfie or them a recommendation, right? So, or I'll send them an email and say, hey, it was such a pleasure talking with you. And then based on the conversation that we had, I'll just bring it up. Hey, I hope that Susie does good on her math test is coming up. I'll be rooting for her, right? Or, thanks for showing me that picture of your dog. He's adorable. And then
listen, understand, right? That's the next. That's where you're at now. Okay.
And then validate, right? The validate is the third step, right? Because that's where you're appreciating where they're coming from. Somewhere along the line, because I am a good coach and I am good at finding the beliefs and shifting them, I'll ask them, what their biggest challenge is, right? Or is there some obstacle that's in their way? And usually before I ask them that, though, I got to build a little bit of trust in the relationship. and that's, so we'll joke around, or I'll ask them why they're here, or what their intention is, or who they're trying to meet, and then why that matters to them. Sometimes I'll give them my 5-question strategy, which is, what's most important to you, about being here today, or what's most important to you about networking, and then what else, and then out of those things, what's number one, what's most important. And when you ask those questions and then you ask people to rate it, they literally tell you what their driving needs or desires are. And
right.
and then I know how to put the whole conversation around that one desire. So people might say, well, I'm here to make more connections. Okay. And what else? Why is that important to you? Well, because then I can grow my business. Right. And then what else? Well, because then I would have more money to take care of my family. And then what else? Well, I would have more fun, going through my day. Out of all of those, what's most important? I think being able to provide for my family, is important. Right. Being able to build relationships that help me to grow my business, or that make it easier for me to run my business so I have more free time to invest in my family. And now I know that, okay, they're very family oriented, or they might be very freedom oriented. They love vacations, right? Or, right. However I figure out their, what matters to them most, then I start to steer the conversation in that way. Because if I can satisfy their needs through us doing business together, they're going to work with me forever.
Right.
So that's the kind of the psychology of behind making a friend and adding value and asking them specific questions that cause them to reveal what they care about most. Right. And then figuring out how to help them satisfy those needs or those feelings, through our relationship in some way. I have a friend that is a Hall of Fame motivational speaker. His name's Johnny, and we were just doing Shurr convention, which is human resources, a big convention in Indianapolis where I'm located. Right. And so we were both speaking at this event, and then I took him back to the airport, and I got to know him a little bit better. We had just met through networking. I got to know him a little bit better, and I found out that he loves fishing. He calls himself a lure head. Right? Okay. So now that I know that, I'm going to go online. I'm going to find a bass lure, and I'm going to mail it to him. And I'm going to say, hey, lure head, I was just thinking about you today. And I know that he's going to be like, oh, this is amazing. Right? Because not just because I sent him a lure, right? But because I paid attention to what he cares about. And that's the secret sauce.
Awesome. All right. Great stuff. Awesome stuff. What would be a good referral for you? I know you're a man of many talents. There are lots of things. What are some things that people could help you with?
Well, thank you for asking that question. That's awesome, Frank. So again, I spent 25 years building my coaching practice, and that part was very successful. I have lectured around the country and in Europe as well, and work with a lot of top companies. As I get older and my kids are older, I want to do more of that. So meeting planners, event planners, HR directors, CEOs, presidents, anybody that wants to optimize the performance of their leaders and their employees or their sales teams is an awesome lead for me. Anybody that's looking for a very dynamic speaker, I've got lots of keynote descriptions at timshurr.com. That would be a great lead. And then, of course, if anybody wants the secrets for how your mind works, I spent 30 years figuring out what they are. You can go to timshurr.com and get a copy of Get Out of Your Way, and it will literally show you how to train your mind for success.
Okay. And you have a podcast. You want to give a plug for that as well?
Oh, thank you. Yeah. So it's called How to Be Mesmerizing. And I bring on the top movers and shakers in business and industry, and then also Hall of Fame speakers, so the top speakers in the world, and we just share our secrets and our strategies for success, and it's just pretty awesome. So you can go to www.mesmerizingpodcast.com and you can check that out. Or if you like videos, if you go to YouTube and type in Tim Shurr, all right, then you'll be able to subscribe to my YouTube channel, because we'll put the videos of the interviews on there as well.
And the best way to get a hold of you would be through your website, LinkedIn, or?
Yeah, either way, LinkedIn or through timshurr.com. If you want to email me, it's tim@timshurr.com. And there's a contact form there, or you can schedule a time for us to talk if you have something that's really pressing for you or you're needing some personal coaching on your own. I coach clients all over the country. And so if you need some help with something or a family member does, then you can always reach out that way. And then if you go to timshurr.com, there's a free, it's called the Mesmerizing Mindset Secrets Checklist. I'm creating these checklists, so it's super simple to help you to really optimize your life just by following the steps. It's kind of like paint by numbers. And so you can go to timshurr.com and download a free copy of that Mesmerizing Secrets Checklist for yourself.
Okay, great. I will put stuff in the show notes for our audience. Shurr is spelled Shurr. I will make sure that's spelled correctly in the show notes. But for the person out there who's not going to go to the show notes and wants to immediately go search on this, that's how you spell his last name, Shurr. Tim, thank you very much.
Oh, it was a pleasure, Frank. I had a really great time. I appreciate you putting this program together and having me on your show, because networking is one of the fundamental ways. I mean, it's definitely one of the most powerful ways to grow your business and grow your relationships and grow your life. And so I'm really happy that you are doing this program, and keep it up. Nice job.
Thanks for joining us on the Networking RX podcast. Please put what you've learned into action today and let us know if you have questions, comments, or ideas for future topics. You can email them to us at podcast@amspirit.com. That's AmSpirit.com. Finally, so you never miss an episode, be sure to subscribe to the Networking RX podcast through iTunes, Overcast, or however you receive your podcasts. Now get out and network with someone.
The Networking RX podcast is the copyright production of AmSpirit Business Connections. All rights reserved.